Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Make New Marketing podcast. I'm Mia, and this is Grace. And every week we have cozy marketing chats all about how we can make marketing more meaningful, more connection driven, more bite sized. So we show up and just make it feel cozy and not so intimidating and scary and
Yeah,
everything. And this week
vibes
we're
only.
talking about what to do when your business feels scary because I think
Yeah,
me and Grace were talking. There's times when our business feels scary. And that can be just because we feel stressed. That can be because like a mistake was made or like maybe a situation didn't go how we really wanted it to go, or maybe the future is unsure about something,
all of it.
yeah, just like all of the above. But like, I think a lot of people, let's start at the beginning. A lot of the time, the reason you don't want to show up for your business, you're not wanting to make content for your social media, you're not wanting to put your face out there, put your product out there, any of it is because your business feels scary. It feels unsafe. And you haven't even labeled that yet. Like you might just be going, oh, I'm lazy, or oh, I'm short on time, or like, I just don't know what I'm doing. And I think sometimes, like, yes, I do. I'm not saying you're lazy. Let's make sure I clarify that. But I do think sometimes it might be other things. But like a lot of the time, I think it might be as simple as you just don't feel safe in your business. Your business feels scary and you don't feel safe operating it. And that becomes a bigger problem. And so fear starts to run your business. And sometimes I don't even think we've labeled that yet.
Ooh,
And we've labeled it all these other things. I'm a failure. I made a mistake. I'm lazy, like all those things, like I said, but it really doesn't have anything to do with those. It has a lot more to do with the fact that we don't know how to regulate ourselves, how to regulate our nervous system and all of that when we're in a situation that isn't familiar, that maybe is a little unsure or a situation that tends to get our heart rate up. And so then our body is like in fight or flight mode, and
mhm.
all those things, which all of the above a business can do in multiple occasions for
It's part of
multiple
it.
reasons. We
Part
know
of
more
it.
than anyone.
Yeah.
um, Especially too, I find this a lot with like workers, yes, but business owners specifically. Like you'll have a business owner, we've worked with business owners that are like, I created this business and now I hate showing up for it. I hate working in it. I feel unsafe going into it. Every time I think of it or look at it, I feel stressed out. I'm not even thankful for it anymore. And I'm talking about people who have grown a successful
Oh,
business, like a business that you would look at the person and be like, wow, you
yeah.
made it.
On
Like
paper, they
you're
have it
doing
all.
great. You have
Right.
no not a worry in the world, but really on the inside this person's like resentful towards their business, and or they don't even want to like look at it. They don't feel good about it at all, and it has nothing to do with the business, and it has a lot to do with like just their fear and their feelings and their nervous system and how it's reacting to the business
Mhm.
and not knowing how to control that. But the thing is, we have to learn how to regulate ourselves. We have to learn how to bring peace, ground ourselves, and things like that in situations when we're stressed and fearful, because you can feel that way in this business and think quitting the business or not showing up for the business or whatever is going to be the thing to solve it. And I think that's why it's not the only reason why, obviously, but I do think that is a reason why a lot of business owners will quit their businesses, stop showing up, whatever. And as a result, they'll end up maybe giving up something they really love, like they
Yeah.
really love doing at the end of the day. Um, but then you move on to the next thing. And guess what? Same
Yep.
situation again,
Well,
because the issue isn't the external
no,
stuff,
it's the
it's
internal.
here.
And there's not I feel like mental health is not given enough notice, like it's a huge part of life. It's a huge part of running a
Mhm.
business, and it's something that you and I harp on a lot, and we have a real heart for it. But not everyone realizes that, if you push yourself past all of your like own boundaries, right? And you just keep pushing and keep pushing through burnout and everything, like you're going to become a shell of yourself, and your business is going to suffer, and your personal life is going to suffer. Everything suffers when you're not taking care of
Mhm.
your own brain. So I think it's important at the first warning signs of these kinds of like fear responses, right?
Yes.
You analyze where that's coming from. You kind of speak up against the lies, and you take control of the situation and you don't let fear drive the ship
Mhm.
because that's a dangerous place to be.
Yes. And just from personal experience to share some of our experiences and what's helped us. And obviously, if you were dealing with major nervous system issues, like you were having like panic attacks and all that, like please go see a professional, like
For
a
sure.
professional therapist or whatever it is, whoever it is that can help you with what you're dealing with. If it is like getting serious, because sometimes we do have to kind of reach out and get that extra little help, and at the end of the day, we're not medical professionals. We're just people who have gone through this, and we have ways that have helped us, and we're still learning because this is a very fresh conversation for us in
Yeah.
the past month, little bit, because we had some things happen that just were unsure things, new things that kind of all landed within about a month or 2.
Yeah.
And we've each had our like breakdowns at different times within that month or 2. Um, but just in case anyone can relate to this, like where I had a whole week, and this isn't abnormal for me by any means, but just sometimes I'm a very anxious person a lot of the time, which I'm working on because that is not how I want to live. That's not what I want to identify with. I, want to be a much more peaceful and calm person. And I know that starts with me. And I know I have control over that. I have to choose to take the control of it though. And that's what I'm learning. And when I had mine very recently, where it was, I call it a spiral. I'll tell Grace, I'm like, yeah, I went on a spiral. Like I just spiraled out of control. Tom knows when the spiral is, and no, this has nothing to do. These kinds of spirals have very little to nothing to do with the time of the month, things like that. Like these are very different spirals. And this one, it wasn't a spiral of like crying, anything. It was just a spiral of constant fight or flight for like a week. By the end of the week, I was so exhausted and I hadn't done much physical stuff that week. It was all from I had just
The mental load.
wore myself out because it was like from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed, even when I was asleep, like my fitness tracker was saying like my sleep stress was high because my heart rate was up while I was sleeping. Like my heart was racing, my mind was racing. I couldn't sleep. I'd have nightmares. I'd twist and turn in my sleep. I was just worried about these specific things from the time I woke up till the time I went to bed. And then when I would feel good about those things, because I was in a spiral, I would find something else to be worried about. Even when I felt, got myself calmed down about those things because I had let myself get in that spiral. And I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do work. Like, you don't want to show up for content, for marketing your business, for anything at that point. And obviously, we have to,
Yeah.
like a lot of people do. Like, we have a job we have to do for people. We have to show up for that. But some things that really helped me, one, to be quite honest, I think one thing was experiencing that and getting to the end of it and realizing like I can't have spirals like this all the time. Um, just in like getting more experienced in business and all of these things, and just yeah, realizing this isn't, something I can accommodate for the rest of my life, nor do I want to. Like
No.
I don't want this. Even if it means something bad is going to happen if I let this go. Honestly, at this point, like I physically am
Right.
so tired. Like I just can't even be bothered about
Right.
worrying about
Right.
these things anymore. Um, don't recommend getting yourself to that point. But a lot of it has to do, as cheesy as this is, like talking to myself, like affirmations, prayer, meditating, things like that. Like those are the biggest things. And I think those are the things we're always thinking are the least effective, that, oh, really is breathing for 1 minute going to help? Is saying this cheesy thing to myself really going to help? It does. Because the thing that started swapping it for me, because I've always been that person that's like, that's cheesy. That's cringy. Why would I say that to myself? Is meditating really going to help? Is prayer really going to help? At the end of the day, it's all just words, 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 or like whatever, the things you tell yourself. And like I realized I was like, well, The only thing really that's causing me to spiral, or the big thing that's causing me to spiral right now, are the things that I'm saying to myself. It's really not a lot. When I really broke it down, I was like, this really isn't a lot to do with what is going on externally at the end of the day. A lot of it, probably 80% of it, 90% of it, has more to do with what I'm saying to myself. So if what I'm saying to myself negatively is having this big of an effect on me, then okay, I am going to believe that what I say to myself, what I choose to think about, all of that in a positive light will also have the opposite effect on me.
Mhm,
And that really, like this time, I think changed my thinking around like breath work, meditation, prayer, all of that when it comes
mhm,
to these spirals. Because if we're quite honest with ourselves, sometimes we just let ourselves sit in it
mhm.
and we don't really
Well,
do much to help
that
ourselves get
doesn't
out of it.
help.
We
Yeah, I would
wallow.
say the same for me. Like, I battle some anxieties, but not to the level that you do. I feel like I, most of the time, am able to kind of like stay level headed and reasonable and like press through the situation and come out on the
Mhm,
other side and not really feel shaken to my core. But something over the last couple months, like we've just both been going through it. And
mhm.
it's not even end of the world stuff, but it doesn't always have to be. Like it could be
No.
one little blip on the radar, something that plants fear or seeds doubt, and then, like you said, the spiral starts, right? And I
Mhm,
battled like really feeling the effects of that in my body in ways that I'm not like used to at all. And I do think though that, like you said, like it's about how internal you go with it because
mhm,
I don't know. There was something about some of the situations we've dealt with recently that have like seeded that doubt. Like, okay, well, do I actually know what I'm doing at all? Like,
mhm,
this one thing has me so shaken that it makes me feel like maybe I don't have what it takes for this business. Like, how can I be sure that things like this won't keep happening? Like, even if I do my very best and I work 80 hours a week and I
mhm,
give everything 110%, how can I be sure that something's not going to come back to bite me? Like, that it's you can go there in your mind and you can
mhm,
stay there, and like you said, you can sleep there even with your heart rate high, stress dreams, all of that, like, with no real escape from it. And I think what you have to do is figure out, like you said, the things that help disarm you. So for
mhm,
me, that's definitely prayer, time outside, like quality time with like my loved ones and my family, like to
mhm,
completely try my hardest to unplug. And that is very counterintuitive when you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And if I don't keep worrying about this or keep trying to fix this or keep doing X, Y, and Z, planning and prepping for this to never happen again, then I'm like losing ground on this. And oh my gosh, this thing is going to happen again. And it's like, that's
mhm,
not reasonable thinking. But if you get swept up in the fear spiral, it's really hard to stop.
mhm,
So I think setting boundaries for yourself around, working and not working, like
mhm,
ensuring that you're making time for things in your day that are actually going to make a difference to your mental health, as counterintuitive as it feels to do those things, like that is unbelievably important. And I think I've experienced that now 2 years in. Like I've really experienced that firsthand. Like, no, we got to take care of these brains
Yeah,
and
we
our
gotta.
bodies
Well,
because
and a lot of the time, I think we just skip things. It's hard to explain, but, like, I think we think we're too smart for, like, making a cup of tea to
yes,
help us to
yes,
help trick our minds into thinking it's time for bed, like, into calming ourselves down for bed. Like, we think we're so smart that, like, "Oh, there's no way this would work. Like, I know that I'm making this," you know what I mean? And there is something subconscious that controls when you feel safe in a situation and when you do not, that you have no control over.
that's true.
Like, it really hit me when I always felt so intimidated to work out. And then I started, instead of listening to music and podcasts and all these things, I started listening to audiobooks when I worked out. And now workouts, and I had found a creator that does workouts that her whole goal is to make them feel cozy and doable and all of these things. It wasn't a video to follow along with. It was like these little short video clips or almost like Instagram stories you go through, and it has all the instructions. I tricked myself into believing working out was fun and cozy and safe instead of feeling like it was this thing I had to do under big fluorescent lights with strange men watching me and
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Or like feeling like I'm just out of shape and just ick. And and I got to a point now where I look forward to it. I
Yeah.
miss it when I don't work out. I
You've
never in a
made
million
that
years.
you've made that a positive, like, comfortable experience.
Yes, and I believe we can do the same with our business. Whether that's having like for me with working out, it was the types of workouts I'm doing. It was, um changing that, the format, I guess you could say, of how I'm doing it. Like making sure my space feels nice and cozy, doing it in the comfort of my home and listening to a nice audiobook when I'm doing it. And my dog's running around the house playing with his toys or whatever. And I'm like taking a break in between reps and like throwing him a toy. Like,
Cute.
and so now that's something I look forward to doing and I feel excited to do. And I believe it can be the same with our business. And I can't say that I've found that sweet spot yet with business where I can sit down and I'm like, ooh, I'm excited, but I can say that there are things that I'm doing that I feel like are getting me there.
Yeah.
Certain music, like even if it's the same song over and over, but like certain music that might help me focus or help me be like, huh, a certain
Mhm.
snack.
There's a
Um,
toolbox.
yeah,
Like,
ambiance.
you have to develop your toolbox, and I feel like this
Mhm.
goes back to something that our friend Angie Pedigo, our, like, business coach, told us, was, like, create a menu, create, like, a self-care
Yeah.
menu, essentially, that when you're, like, so overwhelmed that you can't think straight and you can't stay focused on the task at hand, check this list and check in and just see what you need. Like,
Yeah.
that feels like cheating. That almost feels like a waste of time, like, that's not gonna work, whatever. But you'll find what it is for you specifically, and if you keep track of those things and you can just kind of, like, go to that in your moments of need, I do think that
Mhm.
it helps. It might not erase everything, it's not gonna fix all
No.
your problems, but it will, like you said, help that fight or flight response in your body to where you can be more reasonable and not have this continue to be like a self-fulfilling, like,
Yeah.
prophecy thing. Yeah.
It really is. Tom, for those of you who don't know, he's going to school. He's almost done with school, and he's going to school to be a psychiatrist. So, with being a psychiatrist, it's all about mental health. You also work a lot with like therapists. You learn a lot about therapy, all of those types of things, right? You can perform therapy, like in most cases and stuff. And so, like one of the most popular forms of therapy that if you've heard someone who's gone to therapy and they've had like a transformation, it probably has something to do with like cognitive behavioral therapy. And at the end of the day, like a large part, again, not a medical professional here, but like a large part of what cognitive behavioral therapy is, from like what Tom's explained, and stuff like that, is like it's teaching you things to do when the fear comes up, when the
Yes.
memories arise, and it's giving you like it's all about giving you tools for your toolbox on like, okay, so when fear comes up, this is what I do. And it can be as simple as like one time he worked with me through an exercise where it was like, okay, these feelings, like there are feelings you can't deal with right now. So let's like imagine a box and we're not going to like forget them. We're not going to let them go fully away. But for now, because you can't physically deal with these right now, like we're going to put them in the box and we're going to just put them to the side for a bit. And then you can come back to them when you feel safe. Like, and like you can
Wow.
deal with them. And so it's things like that. And I think maybe your starting point, like, yes, some suggestions like we've given where it's like, um, ambiance, music, things like that, like have a certain snack, like
Movement.
train yourself that you are safe, but also just having tools that you go to. And again, like if you really need it, go get therapy. Like therapy is great. I think everyone can benefit from therapy. Practice a spiritual practice. Like if you are someone who has a belief, like we're Christians, we pray, like prayer is a big part of our life and everything like
For
that. And
sure.
so like that's something huge for us. Like whenever we're feeling unsure and fearful to like pray about it.
Mhm.
So that's like, maybe it's a spiritual practice for you, whatever your beliefs look like. Maybe it is a meditation, just being quiet for a minute. Maybe it is taking breathing for a couple, like 1 minute. I
Maybe
have
it's
on my little
movement.
fitness thing, it
Mhm.
will do like 1 minute of breathing. Or maybe it's literally sometimes lately, what I've literally done for myself is I'll sit and remind myself of the truths. Because so many
Yes.
times,
Yes.
like Grace was saying the other day, and we say this when we're feeling like fear is not factual, feelings are not factual. So let's go through the facts then. So, like, whatever you're worrying about right now, like, one, go through each little bit of it. Is it like, what are the facts on it?
Yep.
What is actually real and what is like just feeling? Can we throw some of that in the trash? Can we throw some of it away?
Well,
Um,
and let me remind you guys too, and I have to remind myself and Mia of this all the time, but like your worth at the end of the day is not in your work.
yeah.
And if you're like us, your business is super important to you and you're an overachiever who wants to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. But at the end of the day, even if the worst case scenario happens, and Mia, you're big on this
Mhm.
one, like even if like the big scary thing that's not likely to happen actually happens, like you're going to be okay. You're
Yeah.
going to get through it and you're not any less valuable as a person no matter what. Like
Yeah.
that can't be changed. Your
No.
your worth is not in anything that you do.
No.
So take some of that pressure off yourself because half the battle is in your own brain. It just is.
Yes. Remember when we were in like in general, me and Grace didn't go to high school together, so I'm not recalling a memory of us.
Well,
But
Mia
like,
was homeschooled
remember
in
when
any
we were
event.
in high school and like one thing happened, one thing was said,
Yes.
one
Yes.
thing happened, and it was the end of the world. Because that's the only thing you knew. And then you got into college. My gosh, the high school stuff I worried about, like whatever. But then one little thing happens in college, the end of the world. Could it be that maybe when we get to adulthood too and we're doing
Yeah.
businesses, and those little things come up and they happen, it's the exact same. We're seeing a very small piece. We're in our own little bubble. And like Grace said, it will be okay. And that's something that's really helped me too. Kind of going back to what I was saying about just saying truth, just simply saying, like, hand on my chest and going, I'm safe.
Yes.
I'm in my house. Tom's going to come home tonight and we're going to take a walk. Just naming off the things that are real and that are true, and that can go down to that. I'm like, if this happened, I will be okay. And, from someone, I obviously have so much more life left to live. So many people have gone through so many worse things than I have. Um, but as someone who thought they had their life all planned out and figured out and was like C-level in a company in their 20s, and then that was just like very unexpectedly ripped out from under
Stripped
me,
away.
there's more. There's more. I felt like I lost a large portion of my friends. I felt like I lost a large portion of like my identity, what I was like what I had worked for years,
Our
like all
money.
of these things. And like, yeah,
Yeah.
money, like
All of it. All the
all my
fears.
money.
Well, just all the fears of,
Gone.
like, losing everything all at once, it felt that
Yeah,
way anyway,
it
and
did.
sometimes it does feel like the end of the world in your body, and you can't always combat that with just some magic phrase, but this too shall pass, like,
Mhm.
it will, and that's something my mom has said to me my whole life, dating back to my elementary school anxiety, you know?
Mhm.
"This too shall pass. This day will be over. A new day will
Yeah.
start." Like, don't let your spiral control you, control your business. Like
Mm-mm.
you are worth so much more than like worrying your life away.
Yes.
Especially when in the grand scheme, your worries are probably, you know, I don't mean to say this to minimize, but just not that big of a deal. Like it's
Yeah.
usually not life or death.
It's
There are
usually not
people
that
that
deep.
work in professions where it is life or death, not us. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be okay.
Yeah. It's usually not that deep. It will be okay. There's a quote that growing up, I remember I loved, and still to this day I love it. And I think it might be from C.S. Lewis, but I'm not positive. But it says, there are far better things ahead than anything
Yes.
we leave behind.
I love that.
And I remind myself of that always, is like so many more things ahead than whatever. And if that means this business, great. If that means this business is for a season and then there's more, that's okay too. Like, being open, I think being open and just allowing yourself to be open to experience life and to just experience it fully in the moment that you are in right now gives you so much freedom of just like, you know what, if it doesn't work out, oh my gosh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. And then I'll just do something else. And so many, you see people who do that and we admire them, who pivot and everything, but like we can do that too. Like,
And
it's fine.
sometimes
It's not like your whole life and
right.
identity.
Sometimes you have to go to that worst case scenario just to
Yes.
appease all of the fears, like you did that the other day too. You're like, "Hey, everything's gonna be fine no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether we're doing this another, year or another 10 years or whatever, like, whatever season it is that we have this business, we're gonna enjoy it,
Yeah.
and, like, we're gonna be fine no matter what, like, it just
Yeah.
will be."
Just don't let it rob the joy you have right now.
Yes.
Because the thing is, you aren't going to have everything forever. Even if it means it's just not going to look the same as it does right now.
It's guaranteed, yeah.
We have this fear in life of like I'm going to lose everything. Things are going to change. Yeah. So like we need to enjoy where we're at right now and find a way to get through that fear right now and not live in this fight or flight all the time right now. Because this is the only time we get of it being exactly like it is right now. Because whether it means a different business or whether it means your business grows and just looks differently, it is going to change. It is going to be different. And technically you are going to lose the what you have right now in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through growth or whether that is through pivoting. And so, anyways, we hope that that helps, in some ways that you can take to help you be less afraid to show up for your business to feel less scary, but also like just so you don't feel so alone because we know it can feel very lonely and like you're the only one feeling this way. So remember that and just know that we are over here cheering you on and stay tuned because we post a new episode every Friday and we will talk to you all soon.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all.